You ready? I'm just practicing fluid balance and control. Okay, let's get serious now. All right, so in this lesson here, we're going to talk about fluid balance control. So in an episode that we've already done, we talked about the importance of water. Are you still going? All right, we're just gonna keep rolling. All right, so in a previous video, we talked about the importance of water balance within the body, because the water within the body has so many important roles. So I touched on that the amount of fluid going in, we want the amount of fluid to be equal going out to keep our balance. So here, you didn't get that, did you? Okay, cool. So here we have the water and electrolytes here on a teeter-totter and their balance, which is what we want. So again, our thirst sensor is up in the hypothalamus. Now, that is the osmoreceptor. And if you think of osmosis and what that is, it's the water moving, you know? So osmoreceptor in the hypothalamus, and that senses or will put out like a thirst alert per se. All right, so it senses the internal environment, the fluid and volume concentration, which is basically what I just said. It's that water sensor, and it kind of, once it recognizes like an imbalance, it sends out an alert to the rest of the body. So it's gonna send a signal to get more fluid, again, because we want that balance. When it's not in balance, that causes so many problems for our body, and we can't function properly. And that's probably my sign to drink more water, because I'm having trouble functioning. Anyway, so we're gonna touch on three components here. First, let's do the antidiuretic hormone. And if you think about it, there are medications that are antidiuretics, and that prevents too much water leaving the body. A patient might be prescribed a diuretic if they have edema or they're having too much fluid in the body, because again, we want the balance. So the antidiuretic hormone controls the amount of fluid leaving the body and the urine. ADH also promotes reabsorption of water into the bloodstream from the kidney tubules. So if you look at that, it controls the amount of fluid leaving, and then the reabsorption to keep it in the body, again, for the balance. These are the tubules from the kidneys, just to have a visual. Then aldosterone or Tyrone, he's going to be kind of like our bouncer, and the kidneys are going to be our club. So we have Tyrone drawn here, and he determines reabsorption of sodium and water from the kidney tubules. So he's kind of the overseer, he's the bouncer that determines what gets through and what is going to stay in. So if we look over here, we have our kidneys again, and Tyrone aldosterone notices like, hey, we have too much water leaving. So he blocks that, and he says, ain't no more water leaving, we got us a deficit. So you can see that he came in here and he drew a line and he said no more, again, to keep that balance, because we're losing more water than what we are intaking. So then we go down here to two other hormones. It's the atrial and the B type, and we know that atrial has to do with the heart, and that's exactly what these are. These are like within the cardiac muscle fibers. So ANP and BNP are released by cardiac muscle fibers in response to increased pressure within cardiac chambers. So it could be, within the 4 chambers that we have, and again, they are hormones. So With this, water and sodium is eliminated in water to prevent, I said water, but like urine, to prevent salt-induced hypertension. So basically what it does is that when there's an increased fluid that is sitting within the heart chambers, these hormones are going to be released, and they're going to say, hey, there's too much in our cardiac muscles, we got to let them go. So then they're like the principals of a school. They're going to say, all right, I'm sorry, we got too much, you got to go, we've had enough. So we want to get that water and salt out of the chambers, or with salt, you know, salt holds the water, so that could create hypertension. And I just want to say, come back for more.